Hello, everybody. Happy Friday. I hope you're doing well, staying at home, staying safe, staying cool. It is hot out there. I am just recording this video to sort of explain a little bit about our first theory homework and to walk you through it in case you need a hand with that. So this first assignment that's due on the second day you have theory this week is just plan all the major scales on a keyboard or a fretted guitar instrument. I've gotten a couple questions about, well, why not wind instruments or why not fretless strings? Those instruments, the pitch dependencies are going to be based on what you're hearing up here, but these fretted instruments, or particularly a keyboard, especially if it's electronic, are reliably going to give you the correct pitch and help train us to hear those pitches better, so you can do a better job of them on your wind instrument or on your violin, whatever it is that you're working on there. So there's several different ways you can do this. I would practice this several times before you actually record the video for homework. The place to start is by recognizing the pattern of whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. It's great to start at the key of C. So you can see C is always going to be to the left of two black keys. You can see we got groups of 3 black keys and 2 black keys. C is always that white note just to the left of 2 black keys. When we're counting half steps and whole steps, it can be tricky if we look at the bottom of the keyboard where it's all these white keys. When you're counting half steps and whole steps, look at the top of the keyboard where these white and black keys alternate sometimes, and sometimes there's white keys right next to each other. Our half steps are going to be the keys that are right next to each other at the top of the keyboard. Whole steps are going to be notes that have one extra note in between them at the top of the keyboard. So one way I would start by doing this is by starting by saying what key you're in as you play that note. So I'm in the key of C. That's not the whole step already, because that's where we've started. The whole step starts after this. So I'm in the key of C, and then I need a whole step, I need another whole step, I need a half step, I need another whole step, I need another whole step, whole, half. And then over time, you're going to get used to what these look like, what they sound like. On the way down, that order is going to be flipped, but try and just remember which notes you play. Try to remember which shape it was. In this case, it's all the white keys on the way back down. And you're going to do the same thing starting on all the notes. So then you'd go to a C sharp maybe, or D flat, whichever you want to call it. And I know that's the key I'm in, and I need a whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. Over time, you're going to get used to which of these. It was all of the black keys, and I had a C natural and an F natural. Maybe pitch name. The pitch names may depend depending on whether you're thinking D flat or C sharp. But it's still that same pattern: whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. Once you get comfortable with that pattern, start using solfege with these. So you start do. Sorry, getting a new key. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, ti, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do. So in this way, you're also training your ear. And later in the semester, we'll talk about fun things we can do with that, practicing intervals. Do, mi, fa, sol, fa, mi. But we'll deal with that later. Don't worry so much about pitch names yet. Worry about the pattern of whole steps and half steps and get used to thinking about these in solfege. We'll deal with pitch names later in the week. So now, that's enough information for you to probably work with and practice on. Do these several times before you record your video for homework, please. This is going to help you get these in your ear. Everything else we're going to do this semester is going to be based on these major and minor scales, but we'll add those later. But knowing how these scales are constructed, remember we talked about we got to start with Y, and learning these scales is going to be important. It's the foundation for all the rest of our music, and we want to reinforce our auditory memory, which is weak. We want to get this ingrained in our long-term memory through practicing constructing, which is why one of the reasons the keyboard is also going to be a good visual element for us to remember this with. So now I'm just going to demonstrate. You could play along with me for your homework video. I'm going to go through all 12 keys, and I'm going to put a metronome on at 60 beats a minute. That's a nice, comfortable, steady tempo. If you can get to about there for your video without missing a note, I promise you are in golden shape for the rest of this course for this semester. Yeah, I'm not looking for proper fingerings. You won't be able to see my hands on the keyboard, but I'm going to do all of these just one finger. You could learn the proper fingerings if you're interested in the proper fingerings. I will post a PDF with those, but that is not a requirement for this. That we are practicing constructing major scales. We're not practicing being piano performers. So I'm going to put a metronome on 60. So that is 60 beats a minute. I'm going to start in the key of C, and I'm going to play one note per click. Circle of fifths. I'm going to go up to the fifth note of that scale, G. I'm starting in G. I go to Sol again in that key. From G, Sol is D. Now I'm going to make that Do. That's all 12. Back around, would have made it back to C if I went up another fifth. That's your homework. Happy practicing. If you got any questions, comments, concern, just reach out to me. See you next week.